What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about Shane Dawson once again. Now, Shane Dawson has been in some boiling hot water for a few days now at this point. It's actually been one of the longest running, hype trains against somebody I've seen in a pretty long time, over a whole slew of different subjects. I mean, honestly, if I was going to go in depth about everything that he's being called out for over like the last week and a half or so, I probably would be making like a 40-minute video. I mean, the amount of stuff on this guy's list is absolutely insane. You know, a lot of people, like Jenna Marble, she got canceled because she did two things that people deemed as racist. Shane Dawson has like 49 different things on the list. I mean, at this point, this dude is setting a Guinness World Record of how many L's you can take at once because of things that you've done in your past. And once again, I don't generally support cancel culture. I think that it's a very toxic mentality that a lot of people hold in order to bolster themselves and make themselves feel really good, but Shane Dawson has done a lot of things that definitely deserve to be called out, that definitely deserve to be brought into light. It's not the one or two off things that have happened that don't really represent who you are as a person that a lot of people get called out for. At a certain point, when you've done dozens upon dozens upon dozens of things, including about joking about supporting pedophilia, making racist slurs, doing blackface, and pretty much anything between all of those three different things, at a certain point, you're just asking for people to say something about it. I mean, Shane Dawson uploaded a video a few days ago called Taking Accountability. It was like 20 minutes long. If I'm being honest, I didn't watch the video. And you're probably like, well, Optimus, how come you didn't watch Shane's video? Well, there's a pretty simple reason. I already knew that it was going to be a bunch of BS. As a matter of fact, I was on a call with Cyrus and we watched like, I don't know, a minute and a half of it or so with someone else. And he even makes the claim in the video that he's made apologies in the past for a bunch of different things, but he only did those because he was scared of the reaction that people were giving towards the things that he did. Basically, he caved in to the pressure and made fake apologies to people earlier on in his career in order to make people stop saying bad things about him. There's been two things going around Twitter when it comes to him and his involvement with, actually three, now that I think about it. That's nuts. The fact that I even can say that is nuts. But three things are going around that involve him being basically weird towards children. The first one is with a 12-year-old girl, okay? Now, this girl had to be separated from her parents in order to even have this conversation, but Shane Dawson essentially starts telling her a bunch of sexual things, giving her a bunch of information that realistically wasn't his place to do so. He and his girlfriend at the time made this girl very visibly feel uncomfortable with the things that they were talking about. Was not anyone that he should have ever had this conversation with. Actually, now that I think about it, there's four things. That's nuts, okay? I keep thinking of more things that he's done, so that was one of them. Another time is when he was feeding an underage boy cookies that were shaped like, which, I mean, pretty much anyone with any common sense would look at that and be like, that's just weird, that makes people uncomfortable. I mean, I don't even understand why you would put something like that out or even do it in the first place. Don't be doing something like that, right? Now, another one that he did is when he talked about how he met this 6-year-old girl, was talking about Instagram with her, found out that she had a bunch of followers, and that she was doing cheerleading, and that she was quote-unquote sexy. I mean, do I even need to explain it, right? Do I need to say anything about it? Wow. And the fourth one that people have been talking about a lot, and these, by the way, are just four of many reasons why people have been talking about Shane, is because he made a video back in the day in which he made some very suggestive motions, I guess is the good way to put that, towards an 11-year-old Willow Smith poster. Yeah, that's right, an 11-year-old child on a poster, you know, completely appropriate and acceptable to make weird motions towards it. But if the Twitter mob wasn't really enough to kind of bring Shane down, and his video being out and receiving mixed reviews wasn't enough to bring Shane down, oh wait, yeah, mixed review, 2/3 like to dislike ratio, #1 on trending. This is what I'm talking about when I say his fans will literally allow him to do anything and get away with it. The Smith family calling him out was definitely there. Now, if you don't know who the Smith family is, I'd kind of be surprised. Will Smith, obviously, is probably the biggest name out of all of them. He's been pretty much like a Hollywood icon since before I was even alive. Then there's Jada Pinkett Smith and Jaden Smith, and of course Willow Smith. I don't think Willow has made any posts about this on social media, but the two who really kind of went off and called Shane out were Jaden and Jada. So the first one coming along here was Jada Pinkett Smith. She said to Shane Dawson, "I'm done with the excuses." I mean, you gotta think, right? She is the parent of Willow here. And to see, I would assume, see the video in which this dude is making very weird gestures toward an 11-year-old, well, at the time 11-year-old that happens to be your daughter, I think a lot of people would definitely be very fucking mad about that. All I can say personally is if I had a daughter that young and I saw something like that online, I would be ready to just, I'd lose my mind. I really would. I mean, parents are obviously very protective of their children, and when you see something like that, it's gotta boil your blood. It's gotta really get down deep inside of your skin. Now, this wasn't the last one. This wasn't the last jab that the Smith family really took at Shane here. Jaden tweeted out, "Shane Dawson, I'm disgusted by you. You sexualizing an 11-year-old girl who happens to be my sister is the furthest thing from funny and not okay in the slightest bit." This man was also doing blackface on the regular. As the youth, we need to support creators who support us and our morals. This is not okay. Now, obviously, these tweets have garnered so much attention. It's huge. I mean, it's pretty rare that a tweet gets up to like 500,000 plus likes. So the fact that all this has come out it's definitely pretty shocking, right? It's a pretty big moment. I mean, these are mainstream celebrities calling out a fucking YouTuber over stuff, right? That isn't something that happens every day. I mean, if you went back into 2019 and you told me that Will Smith's family and Shane Dawson would be beefing publicly on Twitter while a virus ravages the planet, I would tell you that you're insane and that you need to go to the doctor.
Yo, what's up? My name is Cyrus and I'm best known for bullying people. And today we're doing no different. We're gonna bully the fuck out of Shane Dawson. All jokes aside, if you aren't living inside of a fucking bomb shelter, you know that Shane Dawson's under a lot of fire right now. Like Jaden Smith tweeted at this guy and got almost 1 million likes. Everybody is giving their 2 cents on the situation with Shane Dawson, and I'm personally gonna give my opinions. As a kid, I used to watch a lot of Shane Dawson and Joy Graceffa. No, I'm not gay, but they were my favorite YouTubers at the time. I watched Shane Dawson from, I'd say maybe like 2008 up until like last year when I just realized that he's not really my cup of tea anymore. But when I was 4 or 5 years old in like 2008, dude, Shane Dawson was my hero. I was there when he started dating Liz Bug, or however you say her name. I was basically there for everything on his channel, dude, and at this point, I just now recently am noticing all the red flags that flew over my head. Like, I remember being a kid and dying laughing at Shane Dawson eating penis-shaped cookies with a minor. Now I look at it and I'm like, why the fuck is he eating penis-shaped cookies with a minor? I'm all down for dark humor. I understand what it's like to have a shitty childhood, but I personally wouldn't make a 12-year-old boy eat a cock-shaped cookie. Once again, I'm all down for dark humor, and I also had a shitty childhood, but I wouldn't talk to a 12-year-old girl about sex, that's for sure. Now, I'm not gonna call this guy a pedophile or a predator because I don't know the inner workings of his brain. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what he thought when he was around those kids. But I, once again, personally would not go around a bunch of kids and teach them about sex and make them eat penis-shaped cookies. And aside from all the predator allegations, I'm personally black. But if I weren't, I personally would not do blackface. He's under fire for that too, and for that I just gotta say, the internet was a different time back then, but it does not look too good. Seeing Shane put on blackface and act out stereotypes is actually kind of awkward. Personally, just not my style of content, but hey, watch what you want. Now, with Shane Dawson doing predatory things and doing blackface and saying the N-word, and probably doing a lot more things that aren't coming to me right now, do I think that this guy deserves to be canceled? Now, I personally don't know about canceling people with social media. I'd say if somebody's done something extremely bad, you should go to the police instead of ending their Twitter career. So my personal stance is if he's a pedophile and a predator and he has hurt kids, he should definitely go to jail. People should look into that. But as for canceling him on Instagram and YouTube and Twitter, I personally don't know. It's like 10 years ago that all this stuff happened. I'm not saying that it being 10 years ago makes it right or anything, because it definitely doesn't, but people do grow over time. He jumped from being like, what, early 20s to like in his 30s now. He's a lot older, probably a lot more mature and a lot less socially retarded. So I'd say if he isn't a pedophile and he hasn't hurt anybody, then I mean, I don't know. Either watch him if you want to watch him or hate him if you want to hate him. With that being said, I'm out. I'm gonna go do some crystal meth, and I highly encourage all of you watching to go do crystal meth right here, right now. Thank you so much to Optimus for letting me on the channel today, since I can't upload on my own because I have a fucking strike. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you'd like to show some support. And that part from earlier was a joke. Please don't do crystal meth. Okay, goodbye.
But I mean, at this point, this just means that it's getting way more mainstream attention. I mean, God knows how many articles are going to be written about this. BuzzFeed already has an article out. Variety has an article out. Complex, ET Canada, Twitter Moments. I mean, the amount of coverage that it's starting to get now has exploded since Jaden and Jada called him out for all this stuff. I mean, once again, he was getting kind of canceled on Twitter, right? People were calling him out on Twitter and whatever. You know, I think that only goes so far a lot of the time. I can't really think of many people who've been legitimately canceled by Twitter. It's really just the mentality itself that's toxic and that I hate. But I mean, considering the fact that mainstream celebrities at least the family of the person, have now gotten involved, and now it's getting all of this mainstream coverage. All this really does is blow the situation up, and it just makes Shane Dawson look that much worse, because you gotta think there's a lot of people who read these articles who don't even watch YouTube, who probably don't even know who Shane Dawson is, who, I guess, realistically now only know him because of this situation. I mean, this is probably one of the more serious cancellations that I've ever seen. I know a lot of the time people criticize the cancel culture mentality, like anti-mentality, I should say, because cancellation is hardly ever truly effective, but once again, it's the mentality that's generally toxic, and it really is online bullying. But I think there's a difference between canceling somebody for making a joke on the internet or saying something, 10 years ago and them changing as a person than there is between calling someone out who has 50 different examples of him just being a completely bad person